Everybody, Pixel here. This is the second of two videos today, because the first one is a video I did a couple of days ago. In fact, it was yesterday actually, come to think of it. That kind of just gave a little bit of an update on what the hell's going on. This video, on the other hand, is going to be the story behind that issue. So, oh dear. Right. Let's start from the beginning, shall we? Tuesday night, just before bed, I went to the bathroom and for number one, and everything went fine until I finished, and I had like a little turn, you know, like a little dizzy spell, literally for about 3 seconds. It was quite intense, but it was 3 seconds and then it was over. And I went to bed, didn't think of anything of it. Wednesday morning, I woke up and I felt dizzy almost straight away. I felt lightheaded, and I needed to go to the bathroom, number twos, and I had to keep going for about half an hour, and they progressively got a little bit. It got worse. Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to go into details because no one wants to go. No one wants to know exact details. Anyway, so me, felt fine after that. I didn't have any more dizzy spells. I was a little bit tired, and it was work day, so I had to go to work. So I had to make a decision: do I ring it in and say, look, you know, I'm not very well, you know, on the basis that I might not be well, or I might be, you know, I didn't know at that point. I decided to go to work, and work was fine generally. I had a couple of needed to go to the bathrooms during the day, but they were spread out enough for me to, you know, not worry about them at all, really. So I was exhausted by the end of the day, and I went to get myself weighed, of which I won't go into at all because it was basically a false reading. Let's just put it that way. So I went to get weighed, and then I was planning to get a lift home, and I got in the car, and as soon as we started moving, I had an intense feeling of lightheaded. Like literally, we were moving, and stars were starting to appear, and all this horrible stuff. So I had to get out, and I had to walk it off. And the weird thing about it is, you'd have thought walking would have been worse than actually sitting in a car, but it turned out that I walked home fine, and I felt absolutely fine until I got home. And then when I got home, I proceeded to pretty much fall apart, really. I had to go to the bathroom again, and number two was worse, and I was dizzy, and I was trying to lay down, and I was trying to do this. I was thinking, oh man, I must have no energy whatsoever. I better have something to eat. So I had a little bit of a banana. That didn't help at all. Obviously, I was still drinking water and stuff through this period, so I didn't feel dehydrated. So you know, this is about 4:45, 5 o'clock, and I'm thinking to myself, there is definitely something wrong. You know, my number twos aren't right. I'm not feeling right in the sense that I'm dizzy, I'm lightheaded, and I feel exhausted. So I rang 111 up to see. You know, 111 is it's not the emergency number. It's like the it's the number you ring up for medical reasons, to determine whether or not what you have, or what the patient that you're dealing with has, is serious enough for them to get them to hospital, get them to doctors, or whatever. So I rang them up, and I won't go through any of the details. It's not that important. The important part of the details is, it's like last time, about 4 weeks ago, they called the ambulance, but they called it as an emergency, not as just an ambulance to get you to the hospital for tests. They felt it was emergency enough for them to get it out quick, and it was here within half an hour. so I can't fault the ambulance people. They obviously, they were either really close or they were able to get through the traffic and get here really quickly, and I think that's brilliant, especially at 5:30, you know, rush hour. So by this time I've moved downstairs because there's no way I was able to get down those stairs at certain periods of how I was feeling. So I got down there as soon as possible, laid on the sofa, and generally things started to unwind from there. Really, the ambulance people came, they picked me up, and they basically asked me questions, did a few tests and stuff, and then took me away. Literally within 20 minutes of them getting here, I was in the ambulance on the way to Royal Surrey in Guildford, which is about 10 miles away. Not in emergency in the sense that the lights were on, but that they weren't hanging about, let's put it that way. The weird thing about it all really was that I'd only feel dizzy when I was stood up or when I was sitting up, which I'll elaborate what the hell that meant later on, because that's the whole point of what the problem was in my body that day. So got to the hospital, went through all the procedures, you know, what the hell's wrong, what's happened today, have you done this, have you done that. Eventually we get down to the point where they're concerned about the fact that I'm dizzy, and they're concerned about my number twos, and you know, I do go a couple of times while I'm at the hospital, so they know about it, they know what it looks like, they know what the problem is. There is blood there, which there shouldn't be, obviously. So that's all starts to kick off really. They moved me from the major unit, A&E major unit, as it were, to the EAU, which is the emergency kind of observation unit. Basically, they hold you there while they figure out what the hell's wrong, and because they think you're kind of serious enough for that sort of ward, then they put you in there. So Wednesday night I didn't sleep very well at all. In fact, I didn't sleep a wink, and I have no trouble from literally probably about 11 o'clock until about 7ish, half 7. I don't have any problem whatsoever. I'm laying there and I can't sleep, but I'm also not in any pain. I'm not going to the toilet every 5 minutes. I'm just simply okay, as that feeling okay, as you do. And then all of a sudden I need to go to the bathroom, and I need to go to the bathroom bad. This time it's not painful, but it's urgent. It comes on very quickly, so I basically rush straight through to the bathroom, not realising to myself that actually by standing up and trying to get to the bathroom, I'm going to start feeling very lightheaded very quickly. By the time I get to the bathroom, I'm already starting to, you know, stars are appearing, let's just put it that way. My ears are ringing. I go to do the deal. I'd finished the deal fine. The deal went through. Number 2 went through fine, except that obviously there was an immense amount of blood in there. I go to try and clean myself up, and it gets so bad that I'm almost completely blind now, and I'm about to pass out, and I know I'm about to pass out. So I basically leave myself, pull my shorts up, as you do, because you know you're still worried about your dignity, even though you're in the process of, like, you feel like you're dying. And I push the bathroom door open, and immediately just fall straight through it. I literally fall headfirst, flat into the ground. Obviously there are nurses and doctors there to help me out, but the weird thing about it is from the point where I've stood and I kind of like just couldn't deal with it anymore, to the point where I hit the ground, I felt immediately better when I hit the ground. So when I hit the ground, there was no pain. I must have just flopped like a beached whale or whatever, and I immediately felt better because I'd gone back to a laying position. So when people started asking me questions and stuff, I couldn't say, well, actually, I feel alright now. I've got to tell them what actually happened and run through all that sort of stuff. They could see that there was something wrong because, unbeknownst to me, when I tried to clean myself up, I thought I was holding toilet paper. I wasn't. So obviously I was just like... Anyway, it's not the most dignifying entrance into the world of blood loss, but it's the way it was. So they obviously helped me out. I think that pushed them to realise, you know, there's something really bad going on, something serious. And when I say serious, I'm not trying to be overly dramatic. I am deadly serious. Deadly was the wrong type of word to use there, but I am. You know what I mean? So endoscopy to see what the hell's going on down there, because obviously it's something to do with either my stomach or my intestines, because obviously blood in stool, it's not very good. I'm not spurting it out of my mouth or anything like that, so it shouldn't really be much to do with the stomach, more to do with the intestine. So they found some stuff when they went down in the endoscopy. They fixed it pretty much straight away, and then by that time I needed obviously to recuperate the blood that I'd lost, so I had units of blood, and basically I got to a point on Thursday night where I was okay to move to a ward where they could just observe me normally rather than in an emergency situation. So after that things slowed down a bit, because obviously we went into Friday, and Friday was just a general let's do tests, make sure that your blood is getting back to a normal level and all that sort of stuff, and bits and pieces like that really. I was nil by mouth for like 2 days. In fact, excuse me, I was nil by mouth from the moment I got into the hospital. So Wednesday evening, I was nil by mouth until Friday morning, and on Friday morning they decided they wanted to give me something to eat, so I had something to eat and a little bit of drink. And then before lunch, when I had ordered my lunch ready for it to come, they basically told me actually we needed to go back on nil to mouth because we might want to do another endoscopy, which is going down which is going down the throat with the cameras, if you didn't know. So they did that, and I then didn't eat again for another 36 hours. So I wasn't told until Saturday evening that I was okay to eat or drink. And the weird thing about it is the doctor who came to see me on Saturday evening, who had been there all day trying to help everyone, it was literally the two doctors for the entire, like literally for the almost like the entire hospital or something. Really stupid on a Saturday. Maybe obviously not the emergency units, but the general wards stuff. Anyway, she told me that she couldn't work out from the notes why I was nil by mouth still after 36 hours. So I was a bit annoyed really. Saturday night and Sunday were an annoyance for me because obviously I was getting better. You know, I could see it, and everyone else could see it because I was walking around. I've got the app on my phone to suggest so. I think I put that in the previous video. So, you know, I've got the stats to say that I was walking around well, especially, you know, Sunday I was on drips till the end of the day, IV and fluids and stuff, and anti-acid stuff just to protect me, which was fine. And then they took the cannula out my hand, and then I went on to just, you know, normal stuff. So yeah, it was very interesting, very very worrying at points, and very distressing for my family and such. But I am on the other side of it now. Now let me just tell you about what I'm feeling now that I'm home? Well, I have a lag at the moment, a genuine, like, I move my eyes around and it lags just a little bit, so it's almost like I'm seeing a blur as I move rather than straight vision. So that's causing me a little bit of lightheaded, like a tiny minuscule amount, which I might ring the nurse up and see, you know, is that normal or whatever. A little bit worried, but regardless, you know, I'm on the mend. I feel so much better from the other days. I've slept really well tonight, or last night should I say. So yeah, generally I feel okay today. I'm going to be run down. I'm probably not going to be able to work until next week, at least. And yeah, it's not been a great few days for me, but cross fingers, touch wood and all that. Things will get better. Anyway, that's been the story of this past few days. I'm not going to say I hope you enjoyed it, because I didn't enjoy it. But I hope you found this video interesting or whatever, and as it's the end of the Funruary stuff, I will be obviously doing less of these every day. I'll be doing them more like weekly. Until then, I'll see you next time. So take it easy everybody. See you later.